Have you ever just looked up at the sky and felt like the universe is almost too perfect? Like it was made just for us. It's a huge question, and it's one that connects some of our oldest stories with our most advanced science. So today, we're going to explore this profound mystery, where an ancient text and modern cosmology seem to be telling a surprisingly similar story. Okay, let's get into it. So yeah, this is the big question right at the heart of everything we're talking about. I mean, think about it. From our planet's perfect distance from the sun, all the way down to the fundamental laws of physics, everything seems perfectly calibrated for life to exist. So is this just a crazy lucky cosmic coincidence? Or is there something more going on here? To even start to figure that out, we first need to understand what makes our universe tick. You can think of these as the universe's rulebook. They're the underlying numbers and forces that govern the whole show. Everything from the way an apple falls from a tree to how stars burn in the night sky. And as it turns out, these rules are incredibly specific. And here they are, the four fundamental forces that hold everything together. And what's truly mind-boggling is just the sheer precision of it all. If you were to change the strength of any one of these forces by even a tiny, tiny amount, the smallest fraction you can imagine, the universe as we know it would just fall apart. No stars, no planets, no life. It's like a giant control panel with all the dials tuned to an impossibly exact setting. This observation actually has a name. It's called the fine-tuning of the universe. It's the scientific recognition that the conditions for life are balanced on a razor's edge. This precision has led physicists and philosophers to wonder if there's a reason for this delicate balance. But what's so fascinating is that this idea of a highly ordered cosmos, it isn't new. In fact, it's ancient. So let's pivot for a moment. Let's jump from modern science to one of the oldest texts in the world, the Book of Genesis. The argument we're exploring suggests it describes a universe that is anything but chaotic. You know this famous opening line. It sets this calm, authoritative tone right from the start. There are no warring gods or cosmic battles here, which is actually really common in other ancient myths. No, instead, the Genesis narrative immediately establishes a theme of deliberate, structured creation from a single source of power. The story unfolds not as a random series of events, but like a methodical, step-by-step construction project. There's a clear pattern and a logical progression to it, suggesting a deep sense of order and purpose from the very beginning. And this structure is brilliantly illustrated when we look at the 6 days altogether. Check out this really elegant parallel structure. The first 3 days create the distinct realms, or you could call them habitats. So day 1, you get light and dark. Day 2, the sky and sea. Day 3, the land. Then, the next 3 days fill those exact realms with inhabitants. On day 4, the sun and moon fill the light and dark. On day 5, birds and fish fill the sky and sea. And on day 6, animals and humans fill the land. It's a perfectly symmetrical framework. So 2 things really stand out here. First, creation happens by command, God said, which implies effortless control. And second, after each stage, there's this little assessment. It was good. This suggests it's not just an act of power, but an act of purpose and will, where the result is evaluated against a standard. The crucial point here is that this ancient story is built on the idea of order, structure, and intention. Now let's see how this connects back to the science. Okay, so now we're returning to the modern scientific evidence that for some echoes this ancient theme of order and precision in a really powerful mathematical way. Just look at that number. It's a 1 followed by 138 zeros. So according to researchers who analyze the data, this number represents the estimated probability of all 122 conditions necessary for life on a planet like Earth occurring just by chance. The odds are so infinitesimally small they are statistically, well, basically zero. It's a number that really makes you stop and think. And it's not just theologians who have been struck by these odds. This quote comes from Fred Hoyle, a renowned astronomer, who was, by his own admission, an atheist. Yet, when he was confronted with the evidence for the fine-tuning of carbon, an element essential for life, he concluded that the universe looked like a put-up job. So, we have these 2 distinct threads, an ancient story emphasizing an ordered, purposeful creation, and modern scientific discoveries revealing a universe fine-tuned for life against impossible odds. So what happens when these 2 threads start to come together? Well, there's a word for this: consilience. It's when different, independent lines of inquiry jump together and all point towards a single, powerful conclusion. And the argument here is that we see a remarkable case of consilience between the Bible's description of a creator and the universe that science has unveiled. This passage from the book of Isaiah, written thousands of years ago, uses these really powerful metaphors. It depicts a creator who acts like a cosmic architect, using tools of measurement, a handspan, scales, a balance, to precisely craft the world. Similarly, this psalm speaks of a creator who numbers the stars and calls them by name. Again, this is the language of meticulous order, of intimate knowledge and control over the cosmos, not the language of blind, random chance. And this illustrates the core point perfectly, the poetic imagery of an ancient book. A creator who measures, weighs, and numbers finds an unexpected echo in the equations of modern physics, which reveal a universe built on mathematical precision and finely tuned constants. This convergence leaves us with a fundamental question that sits at the very heart of the fine-tuning debate. How do we explain this extraordinary precision? Broadly speaking, there are two main explanations. On one hand, you have chance. This is often expressed through the multiverse theory, the idea that there are countless universes and we simply won the cosmic lottery by existing in the one where the laws were right for life. On the other hand, you have design. This is the idea that the fine-tuning isn't an accident at all, but the product of an intelligent creator. Now, proponents of the design argument raise several challenges to the multiverse hypothesis. They point out that there's currently no direct physical evidence for it, and that because other universes are by definition outside our own, the theory is pretty much impossible to test. And finally, they argue that the problem is simply pushed back a step. I mean, any universe generator capable of spitting out infinite universes would itself have to be incredibly complex and fine-tuned. The biblical perspective, summarized in this verse from the New Testament, makes a different claim. It argues that the evidence for a creator is not hidden, but is clearly seen within the creation itself. In this view, the universe is its own best evidence for its origin. So, after looking at the science and the ancient texts, we move from the what and the how of our universe to the much deeper question of why. The central argument we've been looking at is this: the surprising harmony between the Bible's narrative of an orderly, purposeful creation and the scientific discovery of an exquisitely fine-tuned cosmos seems to point toward intentionality. It suggests our universe is not the result of a random accident, but a deliberate act. And that leads us to our final question, the one that this entire explainer has been building towards. If the universe was indeed designed with such care, if our existence is not an accident, but an intention, then the next logical question is the most personal one of all. What is our purpose within it?